Hello everyone, today is Monday, February the 2nd, and this week is your first exam. If you sent me a rewrite on the workflow in CYB that was due last week, I got them graded by the end of last week. I was tied up with on-campus issues Thursday and Friday, so I was not able to get the rewrites graded, and I'm going to get those done today. So if you're looking for a response, you should have it before the end of the day today. Now, this week starts your first exam. You have two essays for your first exam. You'll find them here under step one. Exam one, question one is about the what you might think is two extremes, whether it's more important for business managers to understand IT or for IT managers to understand the business. And along the same line of thought, whether corporate strategy should drive IT adoption or if innovative IT should drive corporate strategy. I do have something in mind, but I'm not going to count anything right or wrong unless it's incomplete or not adequately supported. And in those cases, I would ask you to go back and do a little more thinking about your arguments and your thought processes. So what I want you to do is to defend your view and give examples, maybe from the book or from your personal life or from stories that you've read or cases that you've read, and give examples where they're helpful in making your point. After you choose one side, the manager's decision and the strategy decision, then I want you to flip and play devil's advocate and make an argument about how the opposite could be true. And I want you to basically argue both sides, but one of them you're going to lean more towards by discussing it first. So ultimately, you're going to look at both sides and think around this a lot. The goal of this is not just for you to write the essay, but for you to think about the relationship between the business manager and the IT manager. Because there are those that camp on one side or the other. That some say it's the business manager's job to understand IT, and others say it's the business manager should just deal with the business, and the IT manager is the one that should understand the business that they work for. And they don't communicate well. And I'm sure that many of you have seen examples where your business managers and your IT managers don't communicate well. So I want you to think through this process and which one is more important than the other. Same thing with the strategy. I'm wanting you to think through this. That's really the point of education. It doesn't mean that it has to be difficult, but you're thinking through things and considering things that you wouldn't have done otherwise. I'm pretty sure if you hadn't been in this program, you wouldn't sit around for a week debating within your own head as to whether or not business managers should understand IT or IT managers should understand the business, unless you had some reason to for your work. So that's what I want you to do for exam one, question one. Question two, you're going to be looking at a major IT related project in which the actions of a business manager made a difference, either good or bad, in the outcome. So you find some IT related project. This is not consumer technology, unless the consumer tech like iPhones and iPads, unless you're talking about the implementation of mobile devices into an organization to improve some business process. I'm not looking at a successful launch of a product. I'm not looking for those kind of projects. I'm looking for internal business process related technology projects where the managers made a difference. Okay, so you've got the technology that's being implemented, but then most of the time where failures come in is not so much with the technology side of things as it is with the behavioral side of things of what a manager did or did not do. So you're going to play consultant here. You're going to give it the situation. Tell me what happened. What's the business? What's the industry? What's the IT project? Tell me if it turned out good or bad. And then back up a step and say, okay, here's where the managers went right or wrong. And to do that, I want you to use the things we talked about so far in the class, the CYB model. We've talked about outsourcing. We've talked about identifying opportunities, smoothing the path, and mitigating the risk. We've talked about change management. We've talked about project management. Anything else in there that you find that fits with your story that you're either saying, okay, this is something that the managers left out that would have made a difference, or you're saying, wow, this is something that they just absolutely got right. So you're playing consultant in this situation. Finally, I want you to put yourself in the manager's shoes with your knowledge of the theories, the outcome, the situation. It's kind of one of those things where, if I knew then what I know now. Okay, well, imagine you are the manager and you know what you know now at the time. So, what advice would you give the company moving forward into future projects based on their history with this one? If I worked for the company, I would recommend that we do this the next time we have a project. So you're playing the consultant here in this situation and looking at a real world project. You're applying the things that have been discussed in the textbook to the project, and you're going to have some outcome of what you would recommend the company would consider moving forward. So these are due next Monday. Both of them are due next Monday on February the 9th at 12 p.m. You see down here, it started today at 12 p.m. It's due next Monday at 12 p.m. I would like for everything to be submitted in a PDF file. Of course, two separate files because you've got two drop boxes. I like PDF because it preserves your formatting. When I go to grade it in the iPad grader app, a PDF will preserve the formatting. A Word document doesn't always do that. Sometimes it displays the text in different places, and any tables or figures that you put in, they don't show up right. But very, very rarely do I ever have an issue with a PDF document. So if you'll submit everything this semester as a PDF, that will be great. Just kind of go ahead and get that in your mind. For me, at least, that I prefer a PDF. Length, same as always, Goldilocks rule. However long you need to write it to sufficiently do the job you feel you need to do to answer these questions. And most of the time, what I find on these type questions is my rewrites are only because people didn't answer all the questions. They didn't do all the work. For example, on the first question, you've got two situations to look at: the managers, business and IT, and the strategy, and what should drive the strategy and the nature, the relationship to strategy and IT adoption. So you've got both of those, and some people leave off the second one. They only write the first one. And so you need to read the question and make sure before you submit it that you did do everything that I asked you to do. And then if there's a problem with your work, of course, I'll send it back to you and give you some feedback on it. But most of the time, that's the problem that people have, is they just don't answer the whole question. Sometimes people pick a bad article, not article, a bad example or a bad case that I just really think is not fitting real well with the purpose of what they're trying to accomplish and say. And in those situations, I'll have people to go back and find another example. So if you, on this particular one, if you want to run your example by me and kind of give me a one paragraph abstract or introduction, let me read it real quick and send you a thumbs up or thumbs down on it. That's fine. Let me know. I will be glad to do that. But if you're pretty sure it fits, then that's fine too. Just go ahead and run with it. So I hope you have a good week, and I look forward to getting your essays in first of next week, next Monday on February the 9th. Have a great week.